welcome back to my channel. So if you remember from my last video, I said there was going to be a new series on this channel. It was about murder and mystery. So for today's video, we are going to be talking about the Rey Rivera case, or the mystery case, because there's a lot of questions in this case. So if you are interested in murder and mystery and makeup, because we are going to be getting ready while we do this video and we talked about this case, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get started. Yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoy it, and on the next clip I'm gonna have no makeup because this is my final look. So let's get started on this case. So I decided for this case to be my first case just because it really intrigued me. It was so different. I just, like, come on, like what really happened to him? That's my biggest thing. Like, I'm just like, what happened to Rey Rivera? So that's what we're doing right now. That is what we're gonna talk about while I do my makeup. So let's get started from like his childhood, while I do my makeup. It's kind of hard. I'll get used to it. I'll get used to it. But so his family is from Puerto Rico, and maybe that's why it intrigued me even more, because that's where I'm from, you know. But yeah, so his family's from Puerto Rico, and his dad was in the military, so they were military brats. They moved around a lot, and they ended up in Central Texas, and that is where that's where he went to high school with. He met Porter, his best friend, and they did water polo together, swimming together. So he has a pretty good childhood, nothing crazy. His parents pretty much brought him up loving his culture, loving what his parents did, what his dad did, being in the military and all that stuff. So technically, like, he didn't have a rough childhood at all. Like, he had an amazing childhood. I forgot to get my eyebrow stuff, so let me go get them right there real quick, and then I'll be right back. So his brother says that he was a very cheerful, he had that type of personality that people drive, that people, like, it drives people in. Like, that is who he was, and he just couldn't see how, like, he was just like good old plain good boy, lived a normal life, his parents in the military, all that stuff. So when he was a teenager, he lives in Central Florida, and he started pretty much as like a popular guy. He is a tall guy. He's 6'5", so he's very tall. He's very, like, broad shoulder but slim body, just somebody that does a lot of sports, and he eventually met his girl Allison, and they got married in Puerto Rico. Everything seemed pretty good. His life was pretty good, college, all that stuff. But he dreamt about being a writer. That was his thing. He wanted to be a writer, so he wanted to be a screenwriter. So they moved down to California for him to be a writer, and everybody that moves to LA either wants to be a writer, wants to be an actor, wants to be a model. That's pretty much, that's a big thing in LA. But it was pretty hard for him, like, he wasn't getting much money. It was just hard. So he called up his best friend, Porter Transberry, something like that. He called his friend and see if he can help him out, with jobs. And his friend was like, well, why don't you come down? Why don't you come up to Baltimore, and, like, I will hire you, I'm a cool friend, right? So him and Allison decided, let's move to Baltimore because it's a secure job, especially right now. He didn't have money, you know. So hey, it's a paying job. He's still doing what he likes, which is writing. Not what he preferred writing, but it's a job. So they decided to move there, but rather than just being like, hey, this is just my life, they decided that it was going to be for 24 months only. That was their agreement. We're going to move to Baltimore just to get some money, get our life even better, and then we will decide where we're going when I move to California. We'll see where it goes, right? Everything seemed pretty good. His job, everything, he seemed happy. And then came May 15th, his wife was leaving for a business trip. So she says that the morning was normal, you know, she woke up, Ray woke up actually with her to like pretty much like greet her, you know, like say goodbye to her and all that stuff. So she said it was like a pretty normal morning for her to leave. She left, she did her stuff, you know, she was at work, all that stuff. That evening comes by and she was like, well, let me call Ray because I haven't talked to him all day, so let's give him a call. But to her surprise, Ray didn't answer his phone. Yeah. So, sorry, had to get him out of the brush. So Ray didn't answer his phone, and for her, it was very unusual for him not to answer. Like, that was just a big red flag, just because she knew he would have been home, and it's just like, no, you would have been home. Where are you? Why aren't you answering the phone? So she decided to call Claudia, which was her house guest. It was one of her former colleagues at the time, and Claudia lived in New York, so she was in Baltimore for some work stuff, and Allison told her she could stay at her house, and all that stuff. So that's why Claudia was there. So she called Claudia and was like, hey, where's Ray? You know, like, I'm trying to get in contact with him and he's not answering me. Well, Claudia tells her at 6:30 that evening, he gets a mysterious phone call and he leaves. But he leaves rushed. According to Claudia, like, he said, oh, and left. That's all. Like, he didn't even tell anybody that he was leaving. He never told Claudia or anything. Like, he just left. Which, I mean, in a sense, if you're not friends with them, like, I guess you wouldn't tell them. I don't know, in my opinion, I guess. But at the same time, if I have a house guest, like somebody staying at my house, and I am leaving, I feel like I will be telling them, like, hey, I'll be back in an hour or two. I don't know. But, you know, that's what happens. Back to the story. So he left. For Allison, it was just strange, you know. But the next morning, she receives a call from Claudia saying, hey, Ray is still not home. And it was at 5:30 in the morning that time. So it's already been almost 12 hours since, you know, he's disappeared. So Allison decided, you know what, I'm just coming home and I'm gonna find Ray. So she decided to leave. She called her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law at the time was living in Puerto Rico as well. And she was like, hey, Mama, have you heard from Ray? Like, have you talked to him or anything? And she was like, no, I haven't talked to him. And for Ray's mom, it was a little weird, I guess, that she was calling her. Not in a sense of like they don't talk, but just like, you're his wife. You know, you probably would have heard more of him than me, you know? Like, that's how she portrayed it as. But, you know, she had heard nothing from Ray. So she was like, no, I haven't. So then she calls his brother and see if he's heard anything from Ray. Well, she was at her business trip, and he also says, no, I haven't heard anything from him. So it was super, super, super strange. So she gets back to Baltimore, and when she goes in the house. The first thing she noticed was there was a soda can, an open bag of chips, and Ray's Invisaligns like right next to all of it. So like he was eating, like he took them off, he ate, and by the time that when he left, he didn't even have time to clean up. Like he literally just left and vanished. So that's what's happening. And so for her, it was just super, super strange. That afternoon, Ray's brother gets there, and they're pretty much like looking for him. They're like, I know we will locate him, you know, like they're still trying to call his phone. His phone's dead. They have no way of communicating with him. So at the time, Ray's mom leaves Puerto Rico and goes to Baltimore, and everybody's pretty much looking for Ray. Like they're just like, where is he? Like he wouldn't have just left. Like all his family says he wouldn't have just picked up and left. That's not him. He loved his life. He wouldn't have just he just wouldn't have left his house just like that, like his life and anything. So finally, police is finally involved because it's finally past the 48 hours of him being missing, and they're also looking for him. They can't find, and they just can't find any evidence where he could have gone, anything, especially because they couldn't find his car, they couldn't find his cell phone, like nothing. So her mom decided, like Allison's mom decided, well, hey, me and your dad are gonna go and we're gonna just drive around like Baltimore and see what can we find. So their research continued. Their search is just like, I'm still gonna look. So while they were looking at different parking lots, because at this point they're trying to locate Ray's car, because they're like, if we locate his car, we can locate him. That's their train of thought at the time. So her mom saw Ray's car at a parking lot, and she was like, oh my gosh, that's Ray's vehicle. And Allison's dad's like, no, that's not it. Like, I know that's not it. And she was like, no, like, I know that is Ray's car. So she calls Allison and it's like, hey, I found Ray's car. So Allison is rushing from her house to the parking garage where they found his car, and she's pretty much just like, okay, well, where's my husband? Like, we finally located it. By the time that she got from her house to the parking garage, police was there, media was there. There's a parking ticket in front windshield, and it states the day that he went missing. So it's been already 6 days. Has it been? Yeah, it's been 6 days from the time that they found the vehicle, from the day he left the house. So they're like, okay, so at least we found like the car. We know he's in this area. So people are like, right now, people are like even looking more for him, because they're like, okay, so we found the car. What else can we find? What else? Like, where is he? So on May 24th, they found a hole at the Belvedere Hotel, which it was close to the parking garage that they found his car. But I mean, there was the hole was there, the hotel was close to the parking garage, but also the building for his work was also in, like, the parking garage was like in between both spots, you know? So it wouldn't have been uncommon for him to know the area. It wouldn't have been uncommon for him to park there. Anyway, so they found a hole, and police goes to the hotel and was like, hey, we need to look inside that hole. So when they opened the hole, when they opened the door to the hotel, to the building of the hole, it was a conference room. They found Ray's body. Yeah, give me a second. I'll be right back, and then we'll continue, because I just can't do my eyeliner on the screen. It's not happening. We're back. So they found Ray's body officially, and it was pretty bad decomposed and all that stuff. It was rough. It's been already 8 days since he went missing, you know. Oh, that's a lot of primer. Well, So it's been a while since he went missing. So they're just like, okay, well, now that we found his body and all that stuff, what happened to him? So his body was directly like underneath. So this is the hole and this is his body. He was like literally directly underneath. His legs were facing the door. It was brutally damaged. It was brutal. Like, but they noticed that in the ceiling, like he had to go through metal to even land there. So it wasn't just like, hey, like small little like cardboard box ceiling. Like it was metal. So he had to, they were saying like he would have had to go like a tremendous speed to have been able to break through the roof and hit the floor. Okay, he had damage to his skull. Like it was, he was like brutally dead. Like it was a brutal death. Which is kind of sad, you know, like this happy guy, nothing bad. Like how did he end up there? That's my thing. Like, woo. Anyway, the detective in the case said that the hole was so small. Like it was a small hole. Okay. The hole was so small that he had to have gone vertical through the hole because it was just so small for how big of a guy he is. You know, remember he's like 6'5", 200, like over 200 pounds. Like he's a big guy. So they're like, okay, well, he had it gone through the hole. So now they're just like trying to figure out like, okay, if he did so much damage to himself, you know, like first of all, the hole is that little. Like he must have come very high to been able to go through that hole like that, right? So hello, it's a building and the Baltimore Hotel. So what do? They go to the roof. That's the first theory of this investigation was like, well, he had to come from the roof to go down. Like that's what had to happen. Like there's no other possible way, you know? So when they're in the roof, they're like, okay, so it's really, really high. But when they look down from the roof, like you're looking down, you're in the roof and you look down, there's so many things that he had to pass through to even be able to even hit the roof. Like it's not just like, here's the roof and here's the hole. Like it was like far down. So they were like, so it's 46 feet between the roof and where the hole is. 46 feet. So they're like, even with his statue, you know how tall he is, he was wearing flip-flops when he left his house. So they were like, okay, even if he ran from the other end of the roof all the way past it, he still wouldn't have gotten there with the hole. Like he would have hit something else. He would have hit something else. Like it was impossible. Like they're like, no, it's not a possibility. That's what he did. It's just not a possibility. So they were like, okay, well, theory number 2. There was a parking garage right next to the building with the hole. So they were like, maybe he just jumped from the parking garage into the hole. No, it was like a 20 by 20 like height and length. So like horizontally and vertically, like it was just not possible like for him to have been able to just go that way. It was impossible. So that theory pretty much like went out the window pretty quickly, just because they were like, no, it's just not possible. Like there's not enough force, enough space for him to have gone from there to there. Like it wasn't possible. So they were like, okay, we'll scratch that. That didn't happen. Next theory was that he could have jumped off the ledge from the hotel because it was like 16 feet. So they were like, well, that's a possibility. Like he could have done that. But then here comes the kicker. For him to be able to get to the ledge, he would have had to gone through a room. Either a room, an office. So it wasn't just like, oh, it's available, that floor for anybody. Like, no. So they were like, okay. And then the ledge was so narrow. Like, as soon as you would have gotten out of the window into the ledge, you would have just fallen. Like, it wasn't possible. Like, you would have had to been very, very little, and had a really good balance to even get there, you know? But at the same time, he couldn't have gotten to the ledge because also the windows were like those half windows. So they didn't open all the way, even if they even opened. Some of them just didn't even open. So here we go again. No, but all three theories of how he could have landed, how he could have gone from the hotel or the garage, like through the hole to that specific building, is a mystery. They have no idea how his body got there. But so they're investigating the hole. They went to the roof of that building where the hole is, and they found, finally, his phone. So they found his phone and his glasses and his flip-flops. Okay, let's talk about these evidence, because this is where the mystery really unfolds. Like, the mystery really unfolds here. And that is because the phone, it had no damages, okay? No damages. Okay, if his body hit so hard that it went through a metal roof, okay, his phone should have gotten some, like a scratch at least, you know, like something should have happened to this phone. Nothing, you guys, nothing. Not only nothing, his glasses were perfectly fine. Okay, you know, if you need glasses like myself, you know, just you dropping your glasses sometimes, you're like scared, like you just damaged them because you just spent so much money on glasses. You know for a fact that your glasses can like they would have gone destroyed. It's like no possibility that his glasses wouldn't have gotten destroyed. It's just common sense, you guys. Just common sense. His glasses would have gotten destroyed. And his phone, you know. So anyways, none of that. Flip-flops. Let's talk about his flip-flops now. His flip-flops, one was broken. Yeah, one was broken. But so one strap of the flip-flop was broken, and the other flip-flop, it had a couple scratches. But nothing crazy, like nothing like very damaging. So if a 6'5" man over 200 pounds is running and is trying to jump, I feel like his flip-flops would have gotten more damage than they did, you know? That's just my thought. So there we go. Those are the three things. But his wife also says that his money clip was missing, and between his wife and his brother, they said that was one of the most important things to him, because Allison actually bought that for him the day of the wedding. That was her wedding gift to him, was his money clip, and it had his RR, his initials, script in there, like Rey Rivera. So they had it all there. So it was just big mystery, where's the money clip? And she says, till this day, they have not found that money clip. What she's like, what, come on, where is it? She says she completely cleaned up the truck when she was able to get it, and she was looking for this. She was like, I am looking for this money clip because, hello, I want it. Not only because I guess it's sentimental. I feel like she thought that was a big evidence to her, was that they couldn't find this money clip, because she was like, he would first of all, he wouldn't have left his house with it, you know, his driver's license, his cash, everything was there. So he would have just left his house. You don't just leave your house without the wallet, okay? It's just not a thing. Okay. And if you do, you're not driving and you're not paying for anything. What's going on? So they started tracking the phone call that he got the day that he disappeared. Who called him? We all want to know who called you. We all want to know. So as they're looking, they realized the people that called, the phone number was from Stansberry and Associates, which is his friend's company, who he worked for. But this is where things get really good. They could not track who made the phone call because they called from like a switchboard. So the phone, like, it just couldn't locate it. It was just not gonna happen. It is what it is. Like, they couldn't identify the extension that called him. All we know is that the last phone call he received was from his friend's building, from his friend's job, like where he worked. So everybody's like, okay, so, you know, something has to be tied up there, you know? Especially, you get a phone call from where you work. You get an, oh, at 6:30 p.m., you disappear. They find you dead. And this is the kicker, you guys. You ready for this? This is the kicker. His friend, okay, and everybody that worked with Rey are under gag orders by the business lawyers, the company's lawyers. They are not allowed to talk. Like, anybody that might have known something, anybody that knew Rey from his job, are not able to say anything, like, at all. Like, no matter what, unless it's like a grand jury says, like, no, you will testify, like, you will say what you know. Like, they literally cannot say anything, which is just crazy to me to think, because that's his best friend, you know? Like, your best friend is dead, okay? Like, they found him dead where he works, which is with you, you know? That's who made the last call, you know? That's the last call that he ever received, was from your building, and you're not even, you know, you're not letting nobody talk. You're not even talking. Like, he wasn't even talking, you guys. Like, and that's, like, my crazy thing is, like, your friend is missing, and you're not even talking. I don't want those type of friends in my life. That's all I gotta say. So he, you know, they can't really get much information anymore. Like, that door is closed. So they're trying to figure out what else could have happened, but they pretty much ruled it a suicide. The Baltimore police says that there's no other evidence or anything like that to, like, prove that it could have been anything else, even though, you know, everybody in his family said he wouldn't have committed suicide. It's just not a possibility. He wouldn't have done it. But here we are. Like, they just rule it a suicide, which kind of sucks, because, hello, like, what happened? Like, there's more to the story than that. But hey, his wife was not taking that as an answer. She was like, no, 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 no. I know for a fact that my husband wouldn't have committed suicide. Like, I just know for a fact. No, he wouldn't have committed suicide. That is not my husband. So, y'all need to do your job, pretty much. But they were like, nope, it's a suicide. So she goes to the medical examiner, because she's like, I know my husband did not commit suicide. Like, she's just like, I know for a fact, like, my husband wouldn't have committed suicide. So when she goes to the examiner, she's just like, what's the evidence, like, that he committed suicide? Which the examiner actually says there is no evidence that he committed suicide, because where his chin, where it was broken, like in those two pieces, it does not go along with suicide. When they were actually searching for Rey, normally when somebody commits suicide, they leave a note, you know, like, they want people to really, like, understand where they came from, to pretty much, you know, to take their own life. Well, she found a note under, like, right behind Rey's computer. She actually found a note, but it wasn't like a suicide note. Like, it was, like, pretty much like an unscripted note. It was a very weird note. Like, it had people's name on it, like celebrities, family members' name, movies, like his favorite movies, like, very, like, it was pretty much like a note. Like, you know when you take notes, and your notes are, like, pretty much everywhere, at least when I do. So that's pretty much how it was. Like, it was so random. Like, it was very interesting. So she called the police right away. And she was like, hey, I found this note. I don't know if that's how she said it. But she was like, hey, I found a note behind my husband's computer. Like, here it is. Like, so quotes from the notes that it said there. I'm reading from a little list of my notes. It says, brothers and sisters, right now around the world, volcanoes erupting. What an awesome sight. Whom virtues unites, death will not separate. I'm just saying, interesting. As well, it says, life is an asset to see if you can control your spirit, right? So as she's doing this research, what she does is she puts, like, Allison, his wife, decides, well, let me go and Google the things that he quoted. She sees, okay? Sorry, takes me forever. Anyway, so she sees that the whole world unites and death and all that is actually from like a secret society, like the Freemasons and all that stuff. And she says that her husband was very into secret societies. Like, he was very intrigued with it, which, I mean, we're intrigued with, like, mysteries and murders. So I could see, you know, like, did he accidentally, like, did too much research into something and he found out something he shouldn't have? Like, these are all questions, you know, like, was his friend involved? Did he find a mystery out of something? Like, these are all, like, very intriguing questions. So Allison also states, okay, that Allison also states that the night before, okay, the night before he went missing, the day before she left, there was at 1 a.m, the alarm of their house went off. Like, it went off. And it never goes off. It's never gone off. So for her, it was very, very strange that it went off. And so she's going down the stairs to trying to figure out where's this noise coming from. And Ray is coming right behind her with a bat. Like, going with a bat. But she says, like, she's never seen him like this. Like, he was truly scared. Like, he was panicked. Like, he was scared. And for her, she's like, I've never seen him scared. Like, he's one of the bravest persons that I know. So for him to be scared was a big thing for her, just because she was like, why is he scared? You know, like, what's going on? She knew things were going on at work, in the sense of, like, the Stanberries and associates were being sued for giving false information when it comes to, like, stocks and things like that. There was, like, more to that side of the story. I didn't really research too much of it, just because I just knew they were being sued, which is I mean, I probably should have done more research, because Ray was writing. Like, he was the writer. I probably should have done more research. Sorry. But so they were being sued. Anyways, so that's what happened. So she was like, okay. The next night, which is the 16th, the day that he went missing, that's in the middle of the night before, you know, she left, because she left early in the morning. At 1 o'clock again in the morning, the alarm went off again for the second time. Okay, but this time when they went towards the window, they realized that the window had been, like, somebody was trying to get in the house, which scared her a lot. So she was like, you know, she called the police the first time. The police said, oh, it was squirrels, and they left it at that, which, I'm sorry, I would have been like, no. Like, I need more answers than this. But I feel like I would have called the police a second time, because at this point, like, their window had been trying to get, like, they tried to open it, like, something happened. Like, they were trying to get in the house this time. And then that night, he disappeared. He went missing. He was killed. So it's just like, hello, you know. As well, it was very interesting was that 3 weeks after the murder, after they found the body, the lead detective of the investigation, he was actually transferred out, which I just think is bogus, to be honest with you, because he was very he was genuinely interested in the case. He really wanted answers. He was very like, I need to know what happened to this guy. And they took him off. They literally took him off. And after that, Allison says every time she went to the Baltimore police, they were just like, you need to get through your head that your husband committed suicide. But in her, she's like, he did not commit suicide until you give me for sure evidence, like factual evidence that says my husband committed suicide. Like, she was like, I know he did it. So that's just made me a little weird that, you know, they're just like, they kicked the investigator out, they gave it to a new investigator, and now they're just like, he's committed suicide. It is what it is, you know? But I found like some interesting facts that happened, and you can see this actually, you could actually see this case on Netflix. It's on Unsolved Mysteries. That's where I first started watching, like where I watched it, and then I did my own research, because I was very intrigued at that there was no evidence. Like there was literally no evidence of what happened to him. Like, there's so many unanswered questions. I mean, I guess that's why it's a mystery, but I want to know the answers to this. So here's a couple things that I found out when I did my research was that Allison actually said in another report that when she tried to get Ray's computer and the police, they had tried to, from the Stansberry Associates, they tried to actually obtain the computer 3 times before Allison was able to get it. So they kept calling the police station to see if they could get the computer, which they were like, well, no, like, you can't get it. It's like Allison's property now, you know, because that's her husband. That was her husband. So that's just interesting to me because hear me out. So he's your best friend, right? You hired this guy. He moved from California to Baltimore for you. He's writing for you. He's doing very well. And then some shady stuff started happening in your company where you're getting sued. Then Ray is scared to death about something. Nobody really knows why, what happened. Why is he scared, right? Okay. Ray goes missing. He's found dead. Big mystery there how he died. Third of all, not everybody has a gag order in the company. So literally nobody can talk. Third of all, okay, not only that, you're not answering questions either, okay? But the last person that Ray talked to that we all know about was from that company, was from his company. Hello? Like, everything's pointing his way. Just saying. They're just covering it up very, very, very well. Okay, not only that, here we go. Now, finally, Porter talks. Not in the documentary. He refused to talk in the documentary. But I know he did talk to a newsletter, and I read it, what he said. He was saying that he had nothing to do with his friend's death. He said that he lawyered up because of all the outcome, especially with the call. So he said he had to protect himself, which, I mean, I guess, I feel like if I was, God willing, never happens, but I guess if I was maybe a suspect in like a murder or a death case, I feel like I would lawyer up, but I feel like I would still talk, but with my lawyer. Sorry, my battery died, so we're back on. So we were left talking about Porter. So yeah, so he pretty much says, like, I had nothing to do with it, okay? Like, I literally had nothing to do with my friend's disappearance and his death, like, nothing. As well as he says that they should stop investigating him and actually like bring awareness to like mental disorders and mental illnesses, because he says that he committed suicide. He was like, so rather than trying to put it on me, like, let's bring light in the situation and like pretty much be like, hey, he committed suicide, but we need to bring awareness to the mental issues and in general where depression can take you, you know, which is a little his face. Because if it was my friend, even if it was committed suicide, but they're pinning it on me, or pretty much the media and like our country is thinking that I had something to do with it, I'm gonna clear my name. I'm not just gonna leave it there. Like, I'm gonna clear my name, but as well bring awareness. So even if you want to bring awareness to the suicide and mental illnesses, I feel like you should still clear your name. Like, it's still hanging over your head and everybody's head that you had something to do with it. Okay, that's the right thing. Second of all, and he also said in this newspaper, that Ray actually wasn't working with the company. Like, he actually resigned from his position 6 months prior to the incident. So at the time of his death, he was not an actual employee of Stansberry and Associates. He had nothing to do with them. So even though they're saying like he was an employee, Porter's saying that he was not an employee at the time, and that's why he was depressed, was because he didn't know what else to do with his life, which I just think is a little suspicious. Because first of all, it makes no sense to me. First of all, you're saying that he didn't work with you, like he had been done working with you 6 months prior to the incident, right? But the call that he had last was from your company. Everybody got put under gag order. I'm not saying he did it. This is my personal opinion. Don't come at me. Like, you know, if you totally believe that Porter had nothing to do with it, you know, leave it down below in the comments and explain to me why you don't think he had nothing to do with it. But in my opinion, I think Porter had something to do with it. I really do believe that Ray found out something he shouldn't have found out, and maybe he didn't even know that he found out about it. Like, he probably never knew, even till the day of his death, that he found out something so big. You know, I really don't think. And it cost him his life, you know, or maybe he found something out very interesting, you know, and he was investigating more into it, and the people that were involved with this situation were like, we need to take him out because he's getting too comfortable. He's learning too much, and it's not okay. It's not going to be good for us. My other theory is, and it still goes with like somebody, like he still found out something. It has to do with money. I feel like since he was writing about like stocks and about Stansberry and Associate, he might have he wrote something that made somebody lose a lot of money, and they pretty much killed him because of it. Like, hey dude, you made me lose money, so you did now. Because people can be greedy about money, you know, like money's a big thing. So those are my theories on what happened to Rey Rivera, which is very sad. Like, his poor wife, it was really like heartbreaking when I was watching the documentary. And even his her mother-in-law, Ray's mom, even said the day we found out that they found his body, she was crying so much. I just held her, and it's so sad. And you can see the love that she had for Ray was so much that even his mom had to put aside a little bit of her feelings to be there for her daughter-in-law, because she was so devastated that was him, that they found his body, you know. I just don't think he would have committed suicide even if he was going through depression or anything like that. I just don't see it. I feel like he would have left a note. Second of all, there's just so much mystery. There's so many questions. What happened? Who did it? There's so many questions. So many unanswered questions. And I hope we eventually get the answers, but I feel like this is going to be a mystery for the ages. So until somebody decides to speak up that was in the, you know, in the company, we are not gonna know anything about it. Like we just won't. Which is kind of sad because Allison's not gonna get her information. Yeah, sad. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you like my new series here of me getting ready and talk to you about mystery and murders. I don't know if we are gonna do my makeup every time. Sometimes I feel like I might just sit and talk because I feel like that'll be shorter because I've been recording for like an hour now. But we will see. I kind of like getting ready and talking to you guys about murders. I actually really enjoyed it. So I hope you really enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It really helps me out. And if you are a subscriber and you know somebody that loves mystery and murders or likes makeup or likes both, please share my content for I can get, you know, get more views. It helps me out. It really does. I just started this whole new series and I want to say love. I am very interested in murder. I've been interested with murder for a very, very long time. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I promise there'll be more cases and actual murders. I decided to do the Rey Rivera case for the first case because it really intrigued me when I first saw it on Netflix when it first aired out months ago. And I just had to investigate a little more, and here I am. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment down below of who you want me to do next, on what case intrigued you or you want a little more information about, or I can do the research and y'all get the answers. Please let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys have a great, 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 great day. Adios, mis amores.